Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to be making, or rather remaking, my folklore cardigan. This was one of my first projects of the year, and the cardigan that I made is slightly too big. I thought I was choosing the right size, I did not, but that's amazing. So I would like to remake it, but the pattern that I used for the one at the start of this year was the Lion Brand free pattern, and it is a bottom up cardigan. I don't like doing bottom up, so I am reworking the pattern to be top down. Essentially this is me freehanding the whole entire cardigan. I have a chart that I made for the back panel. That is what I'm starting with. Just that. I might as well show you if I can. I don't know how good that shot is. Yeah, that's the chart. If you want it, I don't care. This is based off of the cable placements are based off of the one that I made, which is a size large. The stitch count that I'm going with for that is the 80 stitches, which is based off of the size small/medium. I'll try to give details for what I'm doing as best I can if you do want to use that chart. If you also hate bottom up and you want to do this cardigan top down, I would recommend, if you're doing this, to not. Yeah. I'm not good at giving instructions. So this isn't a tutorial or a pattern. Just gonna say that right now. If you need this in a larger size, I would recommend looking at the Lion Brand pattern. It is free, so you're not going to waste money on it. And looking at this, what they tell you to do, and then moving it in. Yeah, no, I can't explain this. I don't know why I'm trying. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I can't explain it. I'm so sorry. For what I've done, I've just removed some of this is the large size for the cables. I've just removed some of the moss stitches. That's all I've done. I will be adding them back. So top down, I'm doing the back yoke first, and then when I finish the yoke, I will be doing the front, both fronts, and then adding stitches underneath the armholes, like a classic top down pattern. Those stitches that I add underneath the arms will be part of the moss stitch that I removed. That is essentially what I'm doing. I'm using Panda Bliss Templi. I don't know what size the yarn this is technically. I think like a DK, honestly. Yeah, probably a DK. It recommends a 5mm needle. I'm going to be using a 4.5 because I don't want to use a 5 for some reason. Um, 4.5 looks better in normal DK yarn, and since that's what I think this is, that's what I'm going with. So that's what we're going with. The colors I am using are I have to look this up because there's no numbers, no name on these. This is Sodalite, this black, and then I also have a creamy beige color. It's over in my wardrobe. It's over in my shelves. I can't be bothered to grab it. It's called Summer Sand. Um, it's that. Hopefully that's a good angle of it. I have no idea if that worked or not. I'm sorry if it didn't. That essentially it only goes in the ribbing. So I only have one of that. I have 7 of this one, whatever that was. Again, I already forgot. Anyway, I bought enough yarn based on the original Folklore Cardigan that I did. So this now being like a small medium size and on smaller hooks, I may have slightly too much, but I really like this yarn, so I don't care. Yeah, this yarn, by the way, was $11 per skein. Decent price, I guess, for what it is. Panda yarn isn't usually cheap, so. This is a cotton acrylic blend, by the way. So yeah, I have literally only just did the cast on. If you can hear my mother on the phone, I am so sorry. But yeah, we are just going to start and hope for the best. In the original pattern by Lion Brand, there isn't any short rows because you're working bottom up. The shoulders are shaped not like this, not like a regular top-down pattern. So I'm reshaping it. There's also sleeve caps on the original. I'm not doing those because I prefer drop shoulder construction. So that is essentially what this should be. A lot of talking. I am so sorry. Let's just get started and hope for the best. I've updated the chart because I forgot to chart the German short rows. So this is the new chart for the German short rows for the back panel. I'm now working on just making the depth far enough for the armholes. Yes. If you can't read charts for knitting, I don't know what to tell you, But for anyone wondering, the red squares are indicating where you turn for a row. They might actually need to be one lower. But if you can read charts and you know what charted German short rows look like, hopefully you can understand this. But yeah, that's the best I can do, honestly. So that's what we're going with. So I've picked up the stitches for the front panel, or one of the front panels. I've still got the back panel skein still attached. I've started a new one for the front panels, as precaution, just in case I need to make that longer to align the cables with the ones for the front panels, because I would rather they all be on the same, have all the cables have to cable on the same row and not be off. So I have that still attached as just in case. But we are now on the front panels. There's supposed to be 3 pearl stitches between these big cables and these smaller ones. For the front panel, I'm doing 2 stitches to separate them because there's like 1 stitch too short for the 3 pearls while still having a border stitch. I have no idea if anything I'm saying makes sense, but hopefully. I currently have my mannequin with the original Folklore Cardigan right here, so I can look at it as I'm working these parts that I have not planned. So, hoping everything goes alright. I don't have the increases planned just yet because, like, the increases for the cardigan shaping, as I want to I have too many pieces of yarn going. As I want to get the right length for the shoulder part first before I worry about increasing and what that's going to look like. I'm guessing this is why people haven't made a top-down version of this sweater, of this cardigan, because, or at least not that many I've seen, because it is quite annoying to design. I mean, It's not hard, it's just annoying. So, I will show you the graph for the panels once I figure out the increasing section, as I want to include that with this chart since it is the exact same panel. Just because right now I don't have that charted on the thing until I figure out how many rows I'm doing. This is a mess. Look how many strings there are. There's one here. That's the back. That's the long tail cast on that I clearly fucked up. That's an extra piece from something. That's a piece from the short rows. And that's the shorter one. So many yarns that I have to weave in. That's great. I'm currently also cooking dinner as well. I have a chicken in the slow cooker, so I've also got to make sure I remember to check that constantly. Or not constantly, but once every couple hours until it's almost ready, which I might do now before I start cabling. Otherwise, I'm going to get distracted. Yep, but yeah, and that's the first 3 rows of the front panel, or a front panel. I will say that this is looking really pretty. As you can see, this yarn does stripe. I don't really care. Honestly, I will just be glad to have a cabled cardigan that fits me in my colours. In the colours that I usually wear. I'm gonna go check on dinner. This is the chart for the front panels. This is the right side, left side. So the right side is just going to be flipped, essentially. But this is the front panels. For my fit, it's increasing in between these 2 purl rows. It's increasing 14 stitches into moss stitch, and then another cable repeat. There's supposed to be cables there for those ones. Ignore that. I forgot to add them. It's fine. Just to make it equal length to the back. That's not a great angle, but I promise it is equal. And I really like how that looks a lot. For me, this 14 increases makes it just a little shy of the middle, but with the ribbing that will be added in, it will probably make it a little over the middle, which is fine. But yeah, first front panel done. I've just got to do the other one, which I'll probably cut off the yarn that's for the back for that, so that I can keep this one on. That way when I finish the right panel, I can cut that off and then restart with this one. That way I'm working that way I'm working from the right side around to the wrong side. That way it's the same number odds and evens rows as what it currently is. That was such a weird way to explain it. Anyway, I know what I'm doing. That's what sort of matters to me. But I really love how this looks so far. Like, the front panel is just, it's so pretty. I think I just love cables, actually. But still. Yeah. So pretty. It is a few days later, a couple days later since the last clip. It's been a while since my last spoken update, at least. I'm currently working on the body. As you can see, we're quite far. This was day 4's progress, which pretty good. I believe I may only need one more repeat of this diamond cable for the back panel. I currently have 4.5. I think I need 5.5 for the length to be perfect before we start the ripping. I'm comparing the length of this to this Harriet sweater, as this is a great length fit for me, so that's what I'm going with. So I just need to complete the current diamond repeat that we're on, which is very close to being finished, and then do one more. I finished the first skein of this yarn, and I now moved back to I finished the second skein that I was using for the front panels, and now I've moved back to the one that I did the back panel with. And I'm now trying to finish that up before we move on to the others. But not even 2 full skeins, and we're nearly done with the body is crazy. Especially since I still have 5 of this one colour. I'm definitely going to have to think of projects to use the rest of this yarn up on. But that's fine. Technically 3 projects. Technically. But yeah. I'm going to update my orange marker to where we finished yesterday, and we will see if I can get to the ribbing by the end of the day. It's currently 11:42, so I have quite a while today to hopefully get to the ribbing, and if not, then maybe even get the bottom ribbing done. I think that might be a bit too much to hope for, but you never know. So band. I figured I'd give a little update since I haven't really recorded anything today, I don't think. But I finished the ribbing on the bottom, which I switched down to a 3.5 for that. I don't know if I mentioned that or anything, but I did do that. And then I picked up a stitch for every row for the button band, as by the looks of it, my row gauge was similar to my stitch gauge, which helps you be able to tell how many stitches you should pick up for rows. There's a math thing to it, but I just trusted the looks of it, and I think I did pretty good. And I did add button bands because I'm decided I will be adding buttons. I haven't choose exactly which button yet, but I do have two options, which I'll show when I finish this bind off. Speaking of bind off, I am using a 2mm hook to just do a single crochet bind off, as I was not doing an Italian bind off for this. I will for the cuffs because it's the cuffs and it's small, but all of that, no. We're doing single crochets for that, and I don't think anyone will blame me for that. And the crochet bind off does actually look really good on the ribbing at the bottom, so I would say it's fine. A tip for if you want to do a crochet bind off for knit ribbing or knitting, go down at least a full hook size from whatever needles you're using. Otherwise it ends up quite wavy. And I say at least a hook size because usually one hook size will do. I've gone down 1.5 from a 3.5 to a 2 just because I wanted to be extra safe about it not being wavy. And it's not wavy at all, at least on the bottom. On the top, it's a little, on the button band, it's a little wavy, but when you stretch it out, like it will be when it's blocked, it is a lot better. Like down here, it's not wavy at all. It's just up here. But that's also because my tension was a little tight picking up the stitches with 3.5mm needles. So yeah, that's what we're currently doing. I was hoping to pick up the stitches for a sleeve and start charting the sleeves today, but that's not happening. It's already like 7:30ish, and this bind off is going to take a while. So that's not happening today, unfortunately. But this is still quite a lot to get done today, so I'm still quite happy with the progress. Which, speaking of charting the sleeves, I will be including the full charts for each section of this, like the back, the front, two that you've already seen, plus however I chart up the sleeves, they will be like the proper charts will be on my Ravelry with this project. Yeah, it'll basically just be the charts that you've already seen, but as like the full photos that you can use for this, I guess. I'm tired. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore. Hopefully someone could understand that, right? I love how I said it's because I'm tired. It's because I'm trying to focus on this, not because I'm tired. I have no idea what's wrong with me. Oh my god. I am loving this yarn so far. It's so soft and really nice to work with on metal needles. It probably wouldn't be on wooden because it's essentially a mohair. It does grab, which does make it a little hard to frog. Because I was originally essentially doing a slip stitch bind off when I first did the bottom ribbing, but then I didn't like how tight that looked, so I switched it to this one, and it was a little grabby on sticking to itself, which would be great for weaving in the ends, but when you're trying to frog something, it's not. I'm nearly done with this third skein of the black yarn, and the white looks like it's barely been used, and considering there's only 4 rows on each cuff left for the white, I think I'm going to have quite a lot of that left over, which is fine. I get some free projects out of it because I bought it for this and it's been used for this, so whatever else is just an added bonus. I'm thinking probably the simple thing for the leftovers of these. Just because it's been a while since I've knit a scarf and I kind of want to knit one again. I just finished a single crochet scarf not too long ago, but that's different. That's crochet, not knitting, and not the simple thing. But yeah, nearly halfway through the back, and then we're done for the day. And then it's onto the sleeves. Body Island was a bitch for this, let me tell you. Like, this is day 6, I believe, and it really wasn't as much as it felt like, but I felt like I spent 5 days on Body Island. I did not. I spent like 2.5. It felt like 5. I'm gonna be for real. It sucked. As nice as cables are to do, no. I actually looked forward to the ribbing. That's how bad it was. me working on the sleeve. I'm still on the first sleeve, and I did make a chart for the sleeve. I spent like an hour charting the whole sleeve, and it was late when I did that, so the decreases are wrong. So when I have time, I need to rechart the entire sleeve again. I also want to rechart the back panel, the back yoke, to have it be the full length of the back yoke, like the whole thing that I did before joining in the round. And I don't know if I mentioned it, all of the photos of the charts will be on my Ravelry with this, in my Ravelry project for this, I should say. Just because it will be easier to, it'll be easier for you to go onto that to find, to get the photos and save them, instead of having to screenshot really bad images that I took from my phone to my computer, from my phone of my computer. But yeah, I'm currently starting a fifth diamond repeat. Fifth diamond cable repeat, there's the words. As I believe my sleeves need to be 5 cable repeats. Which is what I originally thought. But then I thought, no, maybe 4.5 will do. No, it's 5. But it means I probably won't be able to finish this sleeve today. And if I do, it'll be because I stay up late. So we shall see what happens. But I'm suspecting I will probably stay up late. Knowing me. I mean, it's like 3:58. It's essentially 4 o'clock. So I'm going to stop for dinner in about 4:30, which will take a bit of time. I'm so sorry. It's cold. My nose gets runny when it's cold. You don't need to know that. But anyway. So I've got to stop for tea. And then I don't know. I think a diamond takes like 2 hours to make. So this could take a while. I don't know if I have that much time to work on this. And then I've got to do the ribbing and then the bind off. Anyway. I don't know if I mentioned how many stitches I ended up picking for the sleeve. It was 96 stitches. Technically 97, but the chart works out better for 96, so I just dropped one of those back off. Because why not? And also an extra 2 stitches in between the casted on stitches under the arm and the normal panels. An extra 2 for those, which I immediately casted off in the first row. Casted off. Decreased in the first row, just so that there wasn't any holes underneath the arms that way. But I'm really liking how the sleeve is looking. It's really nice. I am really proud of myself for this, which is shocking considering I've barely done anything. I barely did anything for this. I'm literally just reworking someone else's pattern. Someone else's. It's a brand. And it's a free pattern. So, this yarn does shed a lot because of it being fluffy. You can see the fluffy, just one like that. This yarn is very similar to Wibble's yarn. It's like a chainette, and then the fluff is sort of inside of the white yarn, and it peeking out sort of creates the fluffiness. But with it being like little fibers like this, it comes off and creates quite a lot of little clumps of fiber. There is a lot sitting on my floor because I haven't vacuumed in the last few days. But just know, my floor is covered in little black bits of fluff, which is great when I'm wearing a white sweater. Anyway, I believe that's all I needed to update. The way I'm working the decreases is first I decreased on the edges of the moss stitch, whichever list is actually double moss. I accidentally did the moss that you do for inside diamond cables instead of moss stitch. This is double moss. You can't really see it, but it's double moss, not moss. I decreased along the pearl stitch beside the cable. I decreased all of that inwards for the moss stitch, and now I'm slowly decreasing through the cables. And that's just how it's gonna work up because like I said, 96 stitches is a lot. It is bigger than the back panel, but the fit of the sleeve is really nice, so it's fine. I probably should have done a sleeve cap, like short rows in the sleeve to create to not have extra fabric underneath here, but I didn't. So, I mean, it's not too much of an issue. If I had made the back panel slightly, if I had made the back panel to have more stitches, it would have been more of a drop shoulder, and it wouldn't have had this issue. But I was going based off of stitch counts from the Lion Brand pattern, and with DK yarn, I should have known that that wasn't enough because I've done this before with only 80 stitches for a back panel. It's not enough. I know it wasn't. It was a piece of fiber. I know that you just saw that floating past my hair. Anyway, I know 80 stitches isn't enough to go across. I mean, it is, but it's not enough for a drop shoulder like this. So if I had fixed that, then I wouldn't be having the issue with the sleeves. I wouldn't have needed a sleeve cap to make the extra fabric go away. But I forgot. So it is what it is. Yeah. We are done, mostly. I haven't weaved in. I haven't added buttons yet because I'm still kind of undecided. Why won't you stay up? My tripod's being fucking weird. Anyway, I haven't added buttons yet because I'm unsure exactly which ones I want. I was leaning more towards the blue ones that I showed, but I still don't know if they're exactly what I want. I think I may want some like black buttons, but I don't have any, and I can't be bothered going to get any. So I think buttons are just gonna have to wait until I find some that I like. Who knows? Let's see. What do I usually talk about at the end of this? This took 56 hours and 4 minutes. Which is a lot. The original version of this took me 38 hours and 26 minutes. So, quite a big difference. But I do much prefer how this one fits, and it is with a slightly smaller yarn. So slightly, I think like 2 sizes difference in the yarn sizes. Because the other one I used is on Ravelry, it says Aran weight, but I think it's more of a worsted. So, and this is a DK weight. So 1 to 2 sizes difference. But I do much prefer the fit of this one. Yeah. This took 518 grams of yarn. 506 of the black, which means I used 6 grams of yarn from this skein. Very annoying, but that means I have 194 left of this for something else. And then 12 grams of yarn from this one of the white, which I'm thinking I'll probably end up making the simple thing out of both of these, because I need more scarves, or I like making scarves. As you can probably tell, that whole basket is scarves. So, and I currently have a simple thing as a whip that I started 2 days ago. Not yesterday. 2 days ago. Because this was way too big to bring with me to somewhere. So, simple thing. I believe I gave updates about everything that I did for this cardigan, but all of my notes and the graphs for everything will be on my Ravelry if I did miss something. I ended up doing 15 decrease rows for the sleeve length. I did 5 full diamond cable repeats for the sleeve length, which ended up being 15 decrease rows, which I decreased 2 stitches, 1 on each side, every 8th row. So there was 7 rows between each decrease row. Hopefully that's understandable. But I do really like how the sleeves fit. I was worried they were going to end up being too baggy, but they're actually perfect. So, I did 2 rows of double knit for the setup rounds for the bind off, and I basically always do that for whenever I remember it for 1x1 ribbing, because I really love how it looks, and it also makes it not super stretchy, which, considering I thought it was going to be baggy, good idea. But yeah, I believe that's everything that I can think of that needs to be said. This fit is a lot better than the bottom up one, for me at least. So I'm happy with it. Yeah. I'm really proud of myself for being able to freehand a cardigan I freehanded the jumper that's underneath that leather jacket, and that was my first time freehanding a knit piece on my second. I think I did a colorwork cardigan last year. It wasn't good, but I did do that. But that one was a cable one, and eh, this one's a lot better. So I'm proud of myself for that. And I believe that is everything. If you want to make this and you're looking at my charts, this is definitely a small to medium size. I'd probably say more of a small in DK yarn. If you size up to a worsted, it could probably be a medium. I am not someone that understands size grading though, so do that at your own risk. But if you need a large or bigger, you need to add stitches onto the side. Probably at least 5 on each side in the moss stitch sections, which is this side part here. For my size, I only did 2 moss stitches on each side because that's what my stitch count worked out to. So if you add 5 on each side, it would add 10 stitches. If you do 10 on each, it would add 20. It's honestly just something that you have to understand what would work for your size. It's not something that I can really figure out, unfortunately, because I don't like math. I can do math, doesn't mean I like it. But yeah, that's really the best I can offer. Yeah, that's everything I can think of now. Thanks for watching. Bye.